Welcome back. Most people dream of the day when they don't have to go to work.
Yeah, but there's a lot more to think about than laying around in a hammock all day with a cold beverage.
Like you and I do.
I know, right? That's what we do. A little umbrella in it.
Yeah. We'll be out on the deck in a little bit.
That's what you do too, Karen, right?
I do every day of my life, yes.
This is Karen Stiles, and she's here with today's TMJ4 Call for Action office with some helpful tips for those of you who don't hang around in hammocks all day. Welcome, Karen. Good to see you. I think this is a really important topic. We totally tease and make fun, but retiring is not what it used to be for so many people.
That's right. It's so scary. It's so different now, especially because people are not able to make the kind of interest off of their income that they could before. You don't have standard pension plans. A lot of things are different.
And that's what people used to do. They just used to say, well, I have my pension plan and Social Security, and boom, I'm golden, no need to worry. That's just not the case anymore.
No, it's not. So you really need to start asking yourself some questions in advance about, what am I going to do? And not so much, finances, but things like health care. What's that going to cost me in the future, and how is that going to be taken care of? Where am I going to live? Am I going to stay in my existing home, sell it, live in the area, move out of state, as well as, who's going to take care of my affairs when I can't do that anymore? It's something that a lot of people don't think of, that you got to start moving in that direction.
And
what to do with your time.
Thinking about that, though. I mean, when you list those questions like that, they're overwhelming, and I can see people throwing up their hands and saying, that's just too much to think about.
Yeah.
Where do you start? You do have to start.
Exactly. So one of the best places is to talk with people who've already been there, because they can tell you what worked well and what they wish they would have done differently. Also, make sure that you're getting in touch with a very good financial advisor, insurance professionals who can not only provide healthcare products but finance products as well. Also talk with tax experts and legal experts so that you start getting everything in place.
What do you do if, when you're thinking about retiring, it just doesn't look like you're going to be able to afford to do it? Because I think that happens to a lot of people these days. They say, okay, I'm about that age, but I just can't afford it yet. Is there something they can do?
Absolutely. You still have to be thinking about that. So start talking with the good professionals who can be talking with you about, how do you start getting ready to do so? Because at some point you're just not going to be able to work anymore. So make sure that you're doing some of that kind of stuff. Also think about, what are some other options? Could you work part-time? What could you scale back on? You've got to start doing that planning, because it's going to come very quick.
And as people start to reach out, as you're suggesting, to talk to these different professionals, what are the things that they need to look out for? Because I can imagine someone getting something in the mail saying, come to our retirement discussion, and then being sold a bill of goods.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful, because it's not like you get a second chance. When you're younger, if you mess up, you can always rebuild. You don't have that second chance when you get into retirement. So make sure that as you're getting bombarded with all this information, take it in, but ask questions. Don't be pushed into doing anything too quickly, and reach out to trusted professionals who can really guide you in the right direction.
Call for Action is a place that a lot of people can call with questions, problems, concerns, complaints. What do you hear often from people, who are kind of facing retirement in that situation? Are you hearing a lot of these general types of concerns?
Yeah, what we hear a lot of is that somebody, went into retirement thinking they were all set, living happily ever after, and then what they realize is that they made a very serious mistake, either with their health care, that they don't have the type of health care coverage that they thought that they had with Medicare and whatnot, or they invested somewhere, and now what they thought they were going to have in investments is not panning out, or they've been scammed out of it altogether.
I think that scamming is something that just, it breaks your heart,
Absolutely.
to know that you worked so hard for all this money, you trusted somebody to invest it, and then you're left with nothing. And truly, that's what happens. You're left with nothing in those situations.
Right.
So if people, are there any, Sylvia kind of brought up a great point of just, are there any scams or anything like that out there that older people need to really kind of be aware of? Do you think it's just the selling of goods that people need to be careful of?
You have to be very careful, because there's a lot of scam artists that will try to call you, send you intimidating emails or stuff in the mail saying, misrepresenting who they are, especially over the phone, asking you for social security numbers, banking numbers, and they will pose themselves saying they're with Medicare or whatever, or the IRS, or whatever the case may be. anytime you get something where you go, boy, this just doesn't seem right, or I'm just feeling uneasy about this, get a name and a phone number. Call a number that you know is legit first and say, I just received this call or this piece of mail. Is this legit? Before you do any kind of action.
Can they just call you? Can they get the name and number of the person who calls them and call you and say, I got this call, somebody's asking for all this information? Is that a one-stop for them?
Yes, our Call for Action volunteers are more than happy to help you through that. Although we can't always tell you this is or is not a scam, we can at least give you resources of where can you check with a legitimate source to find out for sure, is this legit or not?
I think that's great because so many
Checking
people.
in with the Better Business Bureau,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Department on Aging, even some of your local senior centers, they hear and see it all. And a lot of times they can steer you in the right direction as well.